Alright, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about the topic of buying to close your position. We're going to briefly discuss what that means. I'm going to show you my thought process, and really this is a topic I don't talk about too often on here. Maybe I should more, because it's something I do occasionally, and I can't remember the last time we talked about it on the channel. If you like this kind of content, by the way, please consider subscribing. That way you don't miss any videos in the future. If you're new to selling options and you don't know where to start, I have a whole course for beginners down below. It teaches you everything you need to know regarding selling puts and selling calls to get started. And this is something that I've been doing, just to show you, for months now. And in this month alone, so far in premium, we have made $2,495. So if you want to learn the basics, go check out that. It's linked down in the description. And I didn't make many trades today. Sofi ended up dipping today, and that's why we see this negative number here for the day, $2,640. And when you own 3,300 shares of something and it dips 4.5%, that's, I guess, a number you would expect. And I might be owning more because I have a put that I sold on Sofi for $16.50. expiring this Friday. I also have one that I sold at $16, which we're getting close to being in the money. And on the flip side, I have a $16 call, a $16.50 call, and a $17.50 call. Let's look at the $17.50 strike call as we talk about what buying to close is really quick. For those of you that need a refresher, buying to close is when I sell an option, there are three things basically that can happen to me. Either this expires worthless because it never ends up in the money come expiration. I could get assigned the shares if it does expire in the money, or I'm forced to sell shares if it's a covered call. Or if I'm in the money even before expiration, the buyer of the option has the option to exercise their ability to acquire the shares if they bought the call or sell the shares if they bought the put. And in this case right here, this is pretty far out of the money. This is a call option that I sold on Sofi. And if this was in the money come expiration, I'd have to sell 100 shares at $17.50. But right now, Sofi is sitting at $16, and this expires in 2 days. So it's looking very, very likely that this is going to expire worthless. And basically, I just keep the premium that I was given when I sold this option and move on and look for the next trade. But what I can do if I don't want to wait till expiration is I can buy to close. And this guarantees that I'll never have to sell 100 shares at $17.50 if Sofi all of a sudden becomes in the money. If it goes above $17.50 between now and Friday, I can pay $4 and I can close this position that I sold. And if we go down here, it tells me the average credit of selling this option. I made $21 selling this option. I could buy to close for $4. So my total return, they show right here, is about 81%. And for me, I have no inkling and I have no urge to buy to close a covered call like this because it's way out of the money. It's not hurting me to keep this open and just milk these extra $4 rather than paying $4 to close this, because I'm not using any collateral in terms of dollars. Instead, I'm using the collateral of the shares, which I don't mind holding on to by Friday. So for me, it makes absolutely no sense to buy to close this call option. However, on the flip side, I sold a put on TQQQ, the triple leveraged QQQ ETF. And this is a put that I sold. And I could buy to close this right now for $27. I was given $88 when I sold this put. And so the total return if I were to buy to close it today would be about 70%. And this one isn't as far out of the money than the Sofi call, but it's still decently far out of the money. And I don't think this is going to end up in the money come Friday. However, this $27 is a large amount that I would miss out on if I were to buy to close today. Because if I just stuck with my assumption that it's going to expire worthless come Friday, I can make an extra $27 just letting it expire worthless. But every circumstance is different, and I've seen people on YouTube, general rule of thumb that some people follow is if it's 75% or more total return, they're okay with buying to close that position and freeing up their collateral, because in this case, our collateral is actually money. And me personally, I use some margin for some of these puts I sell. So this one in particular, the collateral is margin. I'm not getting charged for using margin because it never was enacted, and I'm not technically using it until if this were to get assigned, and then I would use it to purchase the shares. But I have to think to myself, if I'm going to buy to close this and it frees up the collateral, am I just going to wait on the sideline for an opportunity to sell another put on a different position? Or am I instantly going to use that collateral for another opportunity that I have in mind right now? And this is the dilemma I'm currently in, because part of me wants to free up this collateral because it is margin, and even though it's not accruing interest right now, I still feel a little more anxious because it is margin. But on the flip side, I would like an extra $27, $26 just letting this expire worthless. So I guess my rule of thumb is, unless I have another opportunity lined up for that collateral, especially with an amount like this, I don't see a point in buying to close it just yet. If it were $5, I would probably buy to close it, because the percentage would be so high, it'd be 95%. And therefore, that $5 isn't going to make or break me. But the 27 is a decently substantial amount for 2 days' time. So I guess the moral of the story is, if you're looking to buy to close, maybe consider all of the possibilities. What if you were to just let it expire worthless? And if you are going to wait to let it expire worthless, are you okay with TQQQ in this instance? What if it drops tomorrow for some reason? There's some terrible news, and now all of a sudden it is in the money. Then you're going to look back and say, wow, I should have bought the close and paid that $27, and I wouldn't be in this situation. That's always a possibility as well. So I don't think that 75% is a one-size-fits-all, because the remaining 25% could be $5 to buy to close, or it could be 20-some bucks. And when I buy to close, I always look at a scenario at an individual basis. So let me know, when you buy to close, what is your thought process around it? What would you do in this situation? Because right now I'm just going to let this basically cook and see if I can get it to expire worthless. Once again, if you want to learn more about the basics of selling options, go check out the course in the description. Also, my spreadsheet is available for purchase down there, the template, and I hope to see you in a future video.